students. So I would like to, it is repetition for the Bhagat course students. I hope you people are hearing to me. So I would like to start the class. Is that okay? Are you able to hear to me? Sachin, ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ ಸಚಿನ್?
ಹಲೋ ಋಣಂ, ಕೆಲಸ ಆಯ್ತು ಋಣಂ.
ಸರಿ, ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ನೋಡಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. So today I am going to tell you the first lecture, first 2 lectures of this syllabus. I will complete one lecture today and tomorrow I will complete another lecture. So let us start with the communication. This word has been derived from Latin word communis. The communication word, it has been derived from Latin language. From the Latin word communis means common. Communication means which establishes some commonness. With whom it will establish, we will see in the next slides. So let us see the meaning of communication. The process of transmitting stimuli. I hope you have heard about the stimuli. In your PUC, you heard about, or you learned about stimulus and response. Stimulus is when you touch a hot spot, that is, hot spot is stimulus. You will take, suddenly you take back your hands, that is response. When a ring, your mobile rings, that is a stimulus for you people. What I am giving lecture, this is stimulus for you people. So it is a process of transmitting stimuli. It includes more than one or two stimulus. That is, it transmits more than a number of stimuluses, that is stimuli. Then what it does, it conveys meaning. Communication means it conveys meaning. So I sent a message to your CRs. So that is the one way of communication. Conveyed meaning that I am going to take first lectures today. That means communication means it conveys some meaning to you. Yes, the establishment of commonness. The establishment of commonness means this is very important. Because when I say I am going to take class today, you should understand that when I am going to class today only. There should not be any miscommunication. Communication gap should not be there. Instead of you may sometimes what happens, because of some communication gap, you may think that class may not be there. Or the example of the examination, I wanted to change the examination schedule for Bhagat course students. They had 302 on 23rd, but I changed it from 31st to 23rd. The 301. If something happens, if some people may not get that message, some people may think that the examination 302 is there on 23rd. That means that has not communicated or that has not established the commonness between me and you people. That is sender and the receiver. So in communication, establishment of commonness is very, very important. ನಾನು ಏನು ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಟರ್ ಏನು ಹೇಳತ್ತೇನೆ, ರಿಸೀವರು ಅದನ್ನೇ ತಿಳ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. That is the meaning of communication. Interaction by means of signs and symbols. It may not be through words, it may not be through written. It can be, communication can be taken up by using signs and symbols. You send many emojis, many symbols, signs when you communicate with your friends. So communication takes place by using the signs and symbols. The sharing of activity, excitement, information. Your seniors who have got their seats, they might have shared that excitement, that happiness with the people, with juniors or with classmates. When you got the agriculture seats, horticulture seats, you might have shared your excitement with your friends. That is, communication is communicating the information, the activity, the excitement. So the meaning of the communication is, it is transmitting the stimuli. It conveys the meaning. It also establishes some commonness between the sender and the receiver. and interaction between sender and the receiver by means of signs and symbols. It includes sign symbols, but not only the signs. It includes the written communication, oral communication, all those things it will include. The sharing of activity, excitement, and information. In communication, we will share something, some information we will share, or some excitement, our ideas, our expressions, our feelings we will share. So now let us say, okay, in this picture, these are the symbols. For victory, we use this type of symbol. So that means just saying anything, if you show this type, that we have won something. That is victory. And what does this picture shows? This picture shows this fellow is telling about a big vehicle. But this lady, she did not get what this fellow is telling. She is thinking of the bicycle. So here the communication has not taken place because what he is telling, but she is not accepting or perceiving what the sender is saying. So this is the miscommunication or communication gap we can call. But the communication means they should establish a commonness. What he is telling, the same thing should be in the same manner. It should be understood by the receiver. Then only we call it as communication. So now let us see some definition. Then it will be very clear to you. According to Rogers and Shoemakers in 1971, what they told, communication is the process by which messages are transferred from a source to a receiver. Communication is a process by which messages are transferred from a source to a receiver. If you think this is the source of the sender, here the messages are transferred to the receiver. Next one is it given by Van and Hawkins. What they say, communication is a process of sending and receiving messages through channels which establishes common meanings between a source and a receiver. So communication is the process of sending. Here the sender communicates or sends the message to the receiver, and receiving also. This person receives, and also this person also may give some message to this sender. How it is through some channels, maybe radio, TV, or electronic media, through mobiles. So many ways are there. So communication will be communicated using some channels, and also it establishes some common meaning between a source and the receiver. The important thing is that you should establish some common thing between the sender and the receiver. Then only it becomes the communication. And this is an important definition given by Liggins. It is a process by which two or more people exchange ideas, facts, feelings, or impressions in ways that each gains a common understanding of the meaning, intent, and use of the message. So here what happens? Two or more people, they exchange ideas. They exchange facts, they exchange feelings, they exchange impressions. For example, you may have some may be good in reading, some may be scoring high marks. So that person may have good idea how to improve reading. So that person, for example, in your class, maybe you see us. Usually they have who has got highest marks will become the CR. Maybe Sachin or Tatvik or maybe Divya, someone else. They are scoring good marks. So they may have some ideas how to improve the reading, how to get better marks. So if you ask them, those who have got less percentage, if you ask them, they may share some ideas. You read like this, they may have some ideas to improve your reading, to improve marks. So here the exchange of ideas will take place. Or your seniors who have got GRF. Last week, Mallikarjuna, there was interaction between Mallikarjuna and you people, the second rank holder of the JRF ICR this time. So what he did, he exchanged his ideas, how to read for JRF, how to prepare for JRF. So that is the exchange of ideas, maybe facts, feelings. impressions in ways that each gains a common understanding of the meaning. So whatever he told, your senior Mallikarjun, whatever he told, you should get the same meaning. With what meaning he attached to his message, you should perceive in the same manner. Okay, a common understanding of the meaning, intent, that is the purpose of the message and use of the message. All these things should be common between the sender and the receiver with regard to meaning, with regard to purpose, for what purpose the message has been communicated, to what is the use of the message, what is the usefulness of that message. So this definition is almost, it is accepted, universally accepted definition. So whenever in the exam asks or anybody asks, you have to write, the first thing is you should establish some common understanding between the sender and the receiver. So let me repeat, it is the process by which two or more people exchange ideas, facts, feelings or impressions in such a way that each gains, that is the sender and the receiver gains a common understanding of the meaning, intent and use of the message. So according to Arun Koneru, what he says, communication refers to the transmission and reception of facts, ideas, feelings, or attitudes, thought and opinion. Okay. So now let us move on to the, I hope you understood what is the meaning of the communication and what are the definitions, what definitions say. Okay, let me move on to the next concept, that is nature of communication. How the, what is the nature of the communication? It is reciprocal or it is a two-way process and alternating also. What does it mean? Happy one ನಿಮಿಷ. Hello sir, ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ sir. ಸರ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹಾ ಸರ್. Happy ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿ. Sorry for the interruption. So nature of the communication, it is reciprocal. It is two-way process. It is alternating. This means, just let me go back. It is a reciprocal. It is a two-way process or alternating means. So you think it is your teacher and this is you people. So when a teacher is giving lecture or giving lessons or giving this lecture to you people, that is the teacher is communicating the message with you people. So when you receive it, sometimes what happens, the teacher may ask some questions or sometimes you give answer. If you have any doubt or if you want to add something to the lecture what the teacher says, so if you start speaking on that, or if you have any questions, so now the term is on your side. Now you start speaking with the teacher. The teacher will listen to you. That is between you and your friend, between you and your parents. So it is always, it is exchange reciprocal, it is two-way process and alternating. So when the speaker, the teacher is speaking, he or she becomes a sender or a communicator. That time you people become receiver. When you people start answering or questioning something, then you become the sender and this person will become the receiver. So it is a two-way process and alternating also. Okay, hope you understood the nature of the communication. The first point. Communication is a social process. Because we people, we animal, human beings are social animals. So it is communication is a social process. It is a process wherein communication act is constantly changing as a communication proceeds. Definitely, the communication process, it is keeps on changing. It will not be stand at a single point. It is a dynamic one. Why? Because just take example of this class only. In the beginning I told about the from which language it has been derived. After that I told about its meaning. After that I told about the definitions. So the process is continuing. You can think from morning till evening, so many communications take place between you people and your friends. The process of communication is continuously changing. It will be keep on changing. ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಒಂದೇ ತರ ಇರುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. So it is and one more thing, it is an interdependent process. Why it is interdependent process and on which it depends? It depends upon the different elements of communication process. So in the next slides you will see what are the different elements. For your time being, I will tell sender, receiver, message, and channel are the elements of communication. There are so many models you come to know. So it depends upon the elements or so many things. And in a typical communication situation, in a typical communication process, there has to be somebody to start the process. Okay, now I am somebody. I am started this class, so there has to be somebody to start the process. Somebody to receive. I hope you people are listening to me. So you people are somebody to receive it. So there has to be someone to start the process, and the message has to be reached to somebody. Some message to share. There should be some message to share between you and me. In class, this is a message. ಏನು message ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ class there will not be any communication. So in a typical communication situation, somebody should be there to start the process, somebody should be there to receive, some message should be there, and a channel to tune the sender and the receiver together. So people are somewhere far away from this college. So what is the channel is connecting between you and me? Our laptops, our computers, our mobiles, the network, all those things are they become the channel to connect between you and me people. Okay, so it needs some sender, receiver, message, and sender and channel. These four elements, the communication process requires these four elements, and this communication process depend on all these things, all the elements: communicator, receiver, channel, message. Next, the nature will continue. Fidelity will vary from situation to situation. Fidelity means it is the opposite word of noise. Fidelity, noise. They are the two opposite words. Noise means when I am giving lecture to you people, if somebody creates some nuisance, maybe if he or she creates some sound, something that is actually noise. The opposite word is fidelity. So as the fidelity increases, the communication will also takes place properly. On the other hand, if noise increases, the communication will not be taken up properly. So its fidelity will vary from situation to situation. So now this is the cool and calm place, and I have muted all of you. Otherwise, you would have made some nuisance, some noise. So now this is the situation is okay. Now the fidelity is more. Otherwise, noise would have been more. If you go and in a fair or in a Totagariki Mela, if you want to give a lecture, so many lot of noise will be there. So fidelity will be less there. I hope you understood. It varies from situation to situation. Next one is communication can occur even without uttering words. I hope you understand. You can communicate without uttering words. You can. When your mobile alarms in the morning, what does it mean? You get up, you say that the meaning is you get up, or small baby cries when it is hungry, it will cry. Sometimes you just give a blank message to your friend. That means something is there, some communication you have made. Just to send some symbols, just so many emojis, we send the happiness. So that also communicates. Without using words, the communication can also take place. It takes place at many levels, for many reasons, with many people, and in many ways. So it can take place between many levels, between your friends, between teacher and the students, between the teacher and the dean, between the dean and the VC, between the VC and the prime minister, or between prime minister of two nations. It can be taken up for many reasons. There is many reasons for taking up class, for administration, maybe to establish collateral relationship between two countries. So it will take place for many reasons with many people. It can be taken up with in many ways. It may be taken up in personally, over phone, or in a group, or through mass media. It can be taken up in many ways. So this is the nature of communication. It is, let me repeat, it is a reciprocal, or it is two-way process, and also alternating. Communication is a social process. It is a process wherein communication act is constantly changing. It is an interdependent process. In a typical communication situation, the sender, the receiver, some message and channel should be there. Fidelity will vary from situation to situation. Communication can occur even without uttering words, and it may take place at many levels, many reasons, with many people, and in many ways. This is the nature of communication. Okay. Now let us see what are the functions of communication. Function. There are 4 I's. Alphabet I. There are 4 I's. They are the functions of communications. According to G.L. Ray, the first one is information. The first I, information function. The getting or giving of information underlies all communication process, either directly or indirectly. So through communication, we give some message. So always we give some information. Usually I send messages before the starting of the class. So that gives some information. That you will understand whether the class is there or not, whether AX302 is there or whether AX301 is there. So whenever communication takes place, it gives some information directly or indirectly. The second function is instructive function, or we can also call it as command function. Instructive. Some people, that is those who are hierarchically superior in the family or in the society or in the organization, they often initiate communication either for the purpose of informing their subordinates or for the purpose of telling them what to do, how to do, when to do, etc. Command or instructive means usually your parents, what they usually they instruct, you don't do that, don't go there, like that they will tell. And actually, today it was supposed to start your midterm exam, but we got the information from our higher authority people. We got information from our DOE that exam will be, at present exams have been cancelled. It will be taken up in the next period, next month, in the January, maybe offline exams may be taken up. So that is the instructive function, command function. Don't take exams now. Exams have to be stopped. Can you do it on your own, or can I do it on my own? No, we can't. We can request them just to change the exam dates. That's all. We cannot postpone, or we cannot change until and unless our higher authority people give the instructions. So that is the command or instructive function that lies under communication process. So this is the second function of communication process. And the third one is influence or persuasive function. You will persuade, that is manovalsu. You will convince the people. The main purpose is to influence people. It also induces, that it changes or it persuades people, which is extremely important for extension. in changing their behavior for the desirable outcome. So this function, the influence function, the third eye, influence persuasive function is important for extension worker, or it plays an important role in agriculture extension, because the extension worker wants to influence the people. He or she wants to influence the people. He or she, the extension worker, wants to bring changes, desirable changes in the people. How? We tell them to adopt the new technologies, innovations. You adopt science and technology in your fields. So we want to bring some desirable changes in the people. So there, this plays a very important, that influence. Or sometimes some role models, maybe Swami Vivekananda, or in Altara, they influence the people. He influenced people, not only Indians, he influenced other country people also. Guri muttuva tanaka nilladiri. That is influential remarks. Or Gururaj Karjigi irbodu athwa iವರು ಇಂತದರು Sadhguru, or they give influential talks, persuasive talks, so that usually that persuades or political leaders, especially political leaders, these people, they influence the people. We follow them. ಅಥವಾ ಬಿಜಾಪುರದ ನಡೆದಾಡೋ ದೇವರು ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಸಿದ್ದೇಶ್ವರ ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿ ಅಂತವರೆಲ್ಲ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರ, ದೇ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೂಯೆನ್ಸ್ ದ ಪೀಪಲ್. So this is very important in agriculture extension, because agriculture extension worker wants to bring about desirable changes in the people. So influence, he or she will influence the people. So the last function is integrity function. The major function of communication is to integrate or continuously offset any disintegration at the interpersonal or at the organizational level. Integrity means keeping all people together. ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದೇ ಅನ್ನುವಂತಹ ಭಾವನೆ ಬರಬೇಕು, ಅದು ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೈತಿ. ಯಾವಾಗ ನೀವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಸುಲಭವಾಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ ನಾವು, ಮಾತು ಬಲ್ಲವನಿಗೆ ಜಗಳವಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ಯು communicate properly, if you communicate sweetly or politely, if the communication takes place properly, then that will keep all the people together. That is integrative function. So what are the four functions of communication? Integrative function, influence, instruct, and information. So these are the four functions of communication: information function, instructive function, influence, and integrate. So these are the four functions of communication. So now let us move on to the process of communication. How the communication process takes place. The process of communication, it takes place in 5 steps. It has got 5 steps. That is between a sender and receiver. First, what happens? The sender generates an idea in the mind. So you want to send a message to your friend. That is the idea that generated in your mind. So what message you want to send will be the next step. The idea is then converted into words, pictures, sounds, symbols, actions. This is called encoding the idea. I got the idea that I wanted to take the communication chapters, the beginning chapters. So that idea came into my mind. So I put it in words. I sent a message to yours, yes, that I am going to take the first 2 chapters tomorrow. So all should, around students, all compulsorily they should present, attendance will be taken. So I put that message in words. So that is encoding the idea. So here the example, here the sender, she is sending some message, some idea has been created in her mind, and she is typing some message, that is encoding the idea. Then what happens? The encoded idea is transmitted to the receiver. That will be transmitted to the receiver through your mobile's wireless connections, or if it is radio talk, if it is TV, that electronic media communicates the message to the receiver. So what happens? The receiver receives the encoded messages through senses and perceives it in the mind. When she sends a message to her friend, it will sound. It may give a big sound, or some sound may be there. Then she understands, oh, I got a message. Then she opens the mobile and reads. Then it will happen in a fraction of seconds. Whenever she reads, She will convert that into, in her mind, she will convert into some words. The receiver then decodes or converts the message back into meaningful ideas in his or her own mind. When she reads the message, she will understand that meaning. Okay? So the process of communication takes place in 5 steps. The first one is idea will be generated in the sender's mind. Then she or he will put those ideas in words, some pictures, some symbols. That is called encoding of the message. Then encoded message will be transmitted to the receiver through some channel. She or he will receive the message, and that message will be converted again into words, meaningful words. That is called as decoding of the message. So these are the 5 steps: generation of idea, encoding the message, sending the message, receiving the message, again decoding the message. Okay. So what is the importance of communication in extension work? Why we need communication? ಯಾಕೆ ಬೇಕು ನಮಗೆ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್? ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ? Let me unmute you people. ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್ ನಮಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಬೇಕು? ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಬೇಕು? ಪವನ್ ಪಾಟೀಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಪವನ್ ಪಾಟೀಲ್, ನಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಬೇಕಪ್ಪ? ನಮ್ಮ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಬೇಕು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ? ಪವನ್ ಪಾಟೀಲ್, ಪದ್ಮಾವತಿ CK, Padmavati CK, I have allowed you to unmute yourself. I have allowed all of you to unmute people. Padmavati CK, can anybody?
Hello, ma'am.
Padmavati.
Hello, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Got my question? Why we need communication in agriculture extension? What is the role or what is the importance of communication in agriculture extension or horticulture?
Extension mainly helps in telling the peoples or giving to convince people about new innovations in agriculture, ma'am.
Okay.
And also helps to make their skills easy and their practice to make very easy, and also convincing about people new ideas and technologies.
What purpose? So we need what? Communication. So communication helps in communicating the message and convincing the people. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello. ಯಾರು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು ಪವನ?
Abhishek.
Yes, Abhishek.
Ma'am, when we are communicating with the farmers, ma'am, the farmers are practicing their own ideas. If you don't communicate, ma'am, the farmers doesn't get any which is right or which is wrong. And if you are communicating with them, they have adopted the new technologies also, ma'am. We can share our new ideas to farmers.
Yes, definitely. Yes. Okay, Abhishek, thank you.